Hello, hello. Welcome to my allotment on the 4th of July. It is actually. So happy Independence Day to all my friends in America. I've not got that many, but the ones over there, you know who you are. Hope you're having a nice day. And meanwhile, over here, I'm on the allotment. No big surprises there. So here's what's happening at the moment. I thought I'd give you another update. I'll start off with the greenhouse actually. So everything has been cleared. You can see outside my shiny shelves. That's the joy of them. Look, so I can use them as greenhouse staging, and then they fold away, so that I can take them out in the summer. Oh, just what I need. So what I've got in here, got tomatoes which are doing really well. I can start to see over here. There's the first tomatoes are forming. Those ones are Harbinger, which are a nice, well, you can see from the label, nice sort of normal average size tomato. And then I've got sort of Gardener's Delight and a plum tomato. So they're all looking very nice. I've got in between that lots of basil, which I've grown in modules and planted out. So we'll see how they get on. Some I planted out a little bit earlier than the other lot, and you can see they're growing quite nicely. So it looks like the modules works well. So you do that's one module's worth, and then I plant them out, and then once the roots can get into more soil, they start to grow. So they're looking good. In amongst them, I've also got, so those are bell peppers there, which are starting to have flowers on. If I can film a flower. Can you see a flower? Oh, there's a flower in there somewhere. Yeah, there's a flower there. Important on peppers, something I often forget to do, is to pinch the top, the growing tip out quite early, and then you get, for example, here, you get the stem forking, and in here, in the chili peppers, you can see they get to be quite bushy, but good to take the top off when they get to about 6 to 8 inches tall, and then you get a nice bushy plants. Here's one where I actually only just took the top off about 2-3 weeks ago. Until then it was just one stem, and that's bushing out. So yeah, so I've got a ridiculous number of chili peppers, which are going to have a ridiculous number of actual peppers on them. They've got marvellous names. That's Basket of Fire. Rawr. That's Apache. This one over here, oh, that one's just cayenne pepper. But I've got another one which has got a very good name. What was the other one? It's sort of Basket of Death Doom or something like that. What's it called? Oh, I've buried the name. Anyway, just take it from me. It's a name that's sinister. Thai dragon. Dragons are sinister. That one's Thai dragon. So there's lots of sinister heat. Apparently will be produced by the peppers. So yeah, so it's looking good in here. What I'm trying to do is I've planted them into the soil, because this used to be a bed of the allotment, and then I'm trying to keep the whole beds watered. So rather than water the leaves, because you don't want to water the leaves, particularly in the greenhouse, because then you get perfect conditions for sort of fungal growth, because you get the leaves are wet, you get humidity, and you get a lot of rotting of fruit and of leaves. So best to just, I'm just watering the soil and trying to keep the whole bed nicely damp, and see how that goes. One nice thing about here's a cucumber. This one's cucumber, which is looking really healthy. You can see it's got cucumbers already coming, and what's nice is that these tendrils, some of those are hooking on, and look, they really do get on tightly. So I'm using string, but I love it when the tendrils grip on, because blimey, they don't half grip on. They're not coming off in a hurry. So yeah, so they're looking really splendid. I've got another cane there to see that stem there. Hopefully it's going to grow all the way up to the top of there, and I've hanged perfect cucumbers hanging down. That's the plan. So yeah, so it looks good in here actually. It's really hot. Doesn't take, but this time of year, July, doesn't take long. Just a bit of sunshine and this place heats up massively. So I've got the door open. I'll probably leave it open in the evening as well. So then out here on the plot, a bit cooler out here. Oh, that's better. I've stopped sweating. So yes, everything is growing like mad. So you can see the soil is dark. So we've had rain overnight. Quite a lot of rain going on at the moment. and warmth, so the growing conditions are perfect, and it reduces any stress that the plants feel, so it's good. Things aren't sort of ripening ridiculously quickly and being impossible to manage. They're actually, it's a proper English summer: rain, wind, rain and sunshine. So so a huge success already are the broad beans. So I've got these are the ones that were sown first. So some of these were sown the end of last year, and we've just got loads. We've been eating them about 3 times a week. They're absolutely beautiful. I mean, there's just loads, and because it's raining a lot, they like sort of cooler, damper conditions, the beans. So they just keep on growing, and you can see they're quite healthy plants. I've not got any black fly. There goes a train. I've not got any black fly, which is a good sign. So I've had loads of ladybirds, ladybird larvae, lacewing larvae chomping away, but also the rain is helping the plants, because normally this time of year, July, or often when it's really hot and dry, then these just start to go to powder and they give up the ghost. But these conditions this year are spot on for broad beans. So I've got this lot here. I've got down here. These were the crimson flowered broad beans. You can just see some of the flowers just finishing. Again, they're starting to produce now at the bottom there, and that's that patch. So I've got 3 rows of those there, and I've got some more I'll show you over the other side as well. So they're broad beans doing well. These are some stragglers of the peas, but the peas are also done really well this year. I mean, this was, I think, the first lot that I sowed, so there's a few there. This is the worst lot, but we've still had a lot of peas. So they've got some wild rocket growing there, which is really nice. Having a very nice, beautiful, a friend told us about a beautiful fresh salad with orzo, the sort of pasta rice, broad beans, baked feta, and then rocket, tomatoes, parsley and mint, and oregano, so lots of fresh herbs and beans, all from the allotment. It's a beautiful dish, that's for sure. So I've got parsley growing in amongst there. So and again, with the parsley, because I think it likes it quite damp, it's very leafy, so I've put it in between beans and peas to try and give it a bit of shade when it gets too sunny. But it's growing, yeah, lovely and healthy and very fresh tasting. So that's the parsley. Now the strawberries. So we've had a few strawberries. There's a pesky. I think it's probably a mouse. A pesky mouse has been pilfering my strawberries when they get ripe. So I'm going to bring. I got a very lovely wildlife camera for my birthday. So I'm going to bring it down here to see if I can find out just who has been up to their peskiness. But so I've had a few strawberries, but actually this is the first year. So I planted them last year, and really, as important as getting a few lovely strawberries is to get the plants established, and they're now looking, with this rain, they're looking really strong. So you can probably see they send out these runners. That's how one of the ways strawberries propagate. You can grow them from seed, but you can just stick. You can see at the end of each runner is another little strawberry plant. That's going to be a strawberry plant there. So you can just stick those in the soil, sort of use some sort of fork thing to put the runner into the soil, and then and the end bit, and they'll get new plants. In fact, there is one. That's a runner that's already rooted itself. Now, in the first year, I'll be chopping all of these off, because I want the plants to focus on just really getting strong and established and bigger, so that next year I get loads of strawberries. So I will be taking the runners off, but in future years you can use them, and you can replace existing strawberries with the runners as long as they're healthy and they're disease free and everything. But you can end up with thousands of strawberry plants, so they're very easy to propagate. But I say this year, because it's the first year, I really want these plants to just get really well established, and then we can have bountiful strawberries next year if I can work out who's nicking them. So that's the strawberries. Then over here I've got sweet corn, and I've underplanted it. Sounds very grand. I've put some perpetual spinach underneath. What I did quite brilliantly was I sowed a load of perpetual spinach one week a few weeks ago, and then came up a week later and thought, oh blimey, I've got loads of weeds in between my strawberries, in between my sweet corn. So I then proceeded to take out all the seedlings of the seeds I'd sown a week before, and then realised that I'd pulled up my plants, so I started again. Anyway, they're doing quite nicely. They need a bit of thinning out, but that will be some perpetual spinach growing in amongst the corn, and then when the corn's finished, that spinach will be here all through the winter, and we'll be eating that till sort of April next year, probably. And then over here we've got the runner beans. So it's always an exciting moment when the runner beans start to get, no, these, what am I talking about? These are climbing French beans. Sorry, ignore that. These are French beans, but even so, exciting when they start to get to the top of the canes. So that's good. They're growing well, and they grow anti-clockwise, which is interesting. So if you try and if you've got beans that you're growing and they just don't seem to be getting up the canes, and you keep trying to sort of encourage them, make sure you wrap them round in an anti-clockwise way. They've got sort of furriness, sort of hairs on the inside of the stems, which helps them cling, and they do wrap themselves around really amazingly quickly, but they're anti-clockwise, and you can see, look, here's some flowers coming, beautiful flowers. So those are the beans are starting, the flowers and the beans. So they're looking splendidly healthy. I've got some chives here. So these are chives I've sown from seed. So whereas normally you get the flowers and you get the sort of bulbs of chives, I think that's right. I'm saying that. I think you normally get bulbs underneath. Anyway, you'll get the big clump and the flowers. So these ones they were sown from seeds. So this year they probably won't have flowers, but they will do in the future. But yeah, that's nice to have and very easy to grow. Very easy to grow. Then on the pond, I'll show you the pond, because look, we've got damselflies here. Look at them all ovipositing. So I don't know if you can, let me see if I can zoom in a bit. There's a couple, or there's another couple. So there's a lot. In fact, look, there's a lot of damselfly action, isn't it? Just brilliant. Look at them. They'll be laying their eggs in the pond. Lots and lots of them. There's all sorts of activity going on in the pond as usual. It's just brilliant. So there's lots. Yeah, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pairs of damselflies. Oh, let me just see if I can zoom in on this one, because my filming is not, I can't really see what I'm filming, but oh, there we go. Is that it there? Yeah. There you can see the pair ovipositing. So the female is the one underneath the green one, and she's laying her eggs. She's laying her eggs in the water, or attaching to some weed or to some plants. So yeah, and then they'll be underwater for a year, and then they'll come up again next year. Oh, come up again. They'll emerge and transform from the larvae form into damselflies next year. So that's going on in the pond, which is wondrous. Then over here I've got what is now a forest of red arash, which is lovely to eat, but it's just a lovely plant, and it's like I actually really like the green, as I've got corn in amongst it. The corn is sort of being overwhelmed a bit, but it just looks pretty. So we'll see what happens with the corn, but it may or may not produce cobs, but it just looks beautiful. And then look here, this is like a sort of, look at that for a view. So you've got the red arash, you've got the corn leaves, and you've got the carrot leaves. Isn't that beautiful? Absolutely beautiful. So that's very lovely. I've got the carrots in amongst here. I don't know if I've said this before. So what I discovered, it's amazing. So quite often, if you try and pull your carrots out, you pull and they don't really move, and then you pull and then the leaves come off, and then you've got the carrots stuck in the ground. And I was looking on the internet, and amazingly it's all become clear. So I'll show you what you do. It's fantastic. So rather than just keep pulling, and this might be obvious to everybody, rather than just keep pulling, so for example here, so if I try and pull that, oh no, that one there, it's quite tight, quite stuck. If you push it down and wiggle it, ta-da, it comes up. That's only a little one, but look at that, it works without snapping. So that's my top tip for the day. I'll cut that later. If you're harvesting carrots, give them a bit of a push down before you pull them up. It's like one of those buttons that unlocks when you press it down, it then releases when you let it go again. So yeah, anyway, so that's the carrots. I've got some lovely courgettes growing here, and what we're doing, I'm grabbing these when they're really tiny. You can see there's a few little bright yellow ones coming there, and on the other plant, look, this variety seems to come up with a lot at the same time. So I'm harvesting those at about this size, and they're really nice to just chomp on raw, because you can let them get bigger, but you can also get overwhelmed with courgettes. So eating them really small, you get them full of flavour, really crunchy, and it saves you having a glut, sort of. So yeah, it's a really nice way of enjoying them. And talking of gaudy things, so these are some of my pumpkins. So I've grown way too many pumpkins, so I'm putting the plants out. I've got a couple over here, some more to go out there, and I'm sort of putting them where I get gaps, because as you can see, it's all quite chock-a-block in a very, very wonderful way at the moment. So there's not a lot of space. So here's the autumn raspberries, which look how tall they are now. And I'm so proud that I've actually put string up for probably the first time in my life, so I can keep on clipping these under here, and it means they're not going to all be falling all over the path and getting in the way. So I can actually walk. Normally by now I wouldn't be able to walk down there, it'd be chaos. So I'm quite proud about that. But you can see the flowers are forming, so there's going to be lots of fruit. They look really healthy, don't they? Really, really healthy. So they should be ready, in not very long, probably the end of this month, I should think. And then for sort of August, September, we'll keep on getting them. Here is more broad beans. So this is I think this is the second lot I sowed. So I've taken the tops off. So another way of trying to stop the black fly is you take the growth tops off, growth tips, because the growth tips are full of juice and energy, and the black flies love them. But again, I've taken them off, and I've not really got much of a problem. I've had a few, so there was some black fly there, but they've gone. They've either been dispatched by ladybird larvae, or I'm not sure. But I've not, because a friend was saying that she's had quite a lot of problem. It's so variable. So some sites, some varieties, some conditions, you get a particularly bad year, and others you get a good year. So I'm doing quite well at the moment, and again, loads and loads and loads of beans. So I'm probably going to end up to freeze some of them because they're growing so well. And I come around. So here's my ragwort plant, which it comes up every year here, and I leave it for the caterpillars, the cinnabar moth caterpillars. If anybody's seen a cinnabar moth, you know how beautiful they are. They're a black and scarlet red moth, and they have yellow and black striped caterpillars which feed on this Oxford ragwort plant. So there's probably eggs there now at the moment. I can't see the actual caterpillars, so they'll be coming soon. And then look at this, that's the sight of summer. Look at that. So that's lettuces. There's a red admiral butterfly romping around over there. There's the peas forming, there's lettuces looking really splendid, there's broad beans, there's raspberries behind. Summer is here, and it feels really nice. Finally, after everything. So I've got lots of peas here, and I'll flick round because you've already seen some peas. Here's the peas which are also ready at the moment. Loads and loads of these, absolutely beautiful. And I seem to be doing quite well. I haven't got, there's a pea moth caterpillar, so the pea moth lays its eggs in the flower, and then the caterpillars, sort of like a grub, lives inside the pea pods, and when you open the pods, you see one or two peas have been eaten. It's not the end of the world, you just don't eat those. But I've not had, I think I've only seen a very small number this year, if any. So that's good. So and I'll show you around here. Look at that, more peas coming. Peas aplenty, the taste of summer. I had a terrible last year, didn't have any peas. This year I've got tons of peas. So again, it's often just a little bit random, but I'm just going to look at that view again because that makes me very, very happy. Oh, as does the train. Everything makes me happy when I'm on the allotment. So then over here I've got, so I tried to grow coriander. It went straight to seed. Now last year when it went to seed, I just dug it all up and put it on the compost heap, forgetting, being the buffoon that I am, that I use coriander seeds a lot in cooking. So now I'm growing them actually as much for the seeds as anything else. So I'll wait until the flowers have from seeds, and then I'll harvest them and have loads of coriander seeds I can use, grind them all up and use them in all sorts of things. So I've learned from my buffoonery of last year, he says, hopefully. Then we've got the runner beans. So this was the ones I thought had got to the top. So look, the lovely red flowers, and look, the winner first up to the top is that runner bean. So so they'll be starting to, so the flowers will be starting to form beans. You can see something's been nibbling at it, but basically the plants are really healthy. Once they get going, then they're fairly indestructible. Yeah, and they're all growing quite well. And another couple of pumpkins that I found a space for over here. Well, I'm going to quickly go around to, this is one of my beds that I'm transferred from just nettles to plants for pollinators. So you can see you've got the marigold, you've got the nepeta, the Six Hills Giant, which is really good. It's already been flowering for ages. It's got, I can see hoverflies on there, I can see bees. We've got the Phacelia, which the bees love as well, that you can see. There's one, absolutely loving it. Got the Californian poppies. We've got, if I go along here, I'll see what else we can find. Some red rashes growing in there. Those are I think rudbeckias. I think maybe echinacea. Again, look at the Phacelia here with the bees, absolutely loving it. So loads of that. I've got some borage, which they also love. Thanks very much to that bee for demonstrating how much they like it. Some of the things have gone over, so the forget-me-nots and the poached eggplants. But I've got some, these are sunflowers, which will be good for the bees soon. All sorts of the stuff you see. I've got buddleia. This is collapsing a bit, as you can see now. Here's my feverfew, lots of flowers, and the comfrey with the rain has been collapsing. But you can see still. I mean, there's all sorts of things on here. There's bees, there's flies, there's hoverflies, there's wasps. I mean, it's just the most wonderful plant to grow if you want something for pollinators. I mean, there's a lot of it, and it starts starting to collapse, but it's just, look at the size of that bee there. That's a beauty. Look at it. Oh, look at that, how it's defying all known laws of gravity. What an absolutely beautiful creature. Look at that. Oh, absolutely, so beautiful. Oh, it's clinging on. It's a wonder you've not pulled the whole lot over. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, I could just keep videoing that for the whole rest of time, but I won't. I'll move away. So that's yeah. I mean, if ever an advert was videoed of how amazing comfrey is, that was it. I mean, it's just alive. So then coming back to to where I was. Oh, by the way, these are the salsify flowers, seeds. The flowers have gone, so these will be seeding all over, ready for next year. And I've got a lot of plants in amongst here, which are teasels. So teasels is going to be a bountiful year. Oh, this is my echium that I sowed. I've got 3 of them. I've got 2 at home and 1 here. So Echium pininana, I think it is. So this is a biennial. So next year, assuming all goes well, I think this grows to about 2.5 meters tall. A great big spike of dark royal blue flowers that the bees will be romping over. So at the moment, it's growing really quick. I mean, this is now started to grow quick. It's got lovely spotty leaves, and so we'll see how that gets on. Yeah. Oh, this is horehound as well. I'd never grown this before, but I grow this from seed. I think last year biennial as well. You can see these sort of whorls of flowers as well. That are, it's popular with bees, although I haven't seen many on it. But I'll keep an eye out. So that's nice. But you can see there's all sorts of things here for critters. We've got some bryza, some quaking oak grass at the back there as well, all sorts of things for birds and bees to enjoy. Anyway, let me go back to the veg. So we've got rainbow chard. So some of this is starting to go to seed already. It does that sometimes. I'm sure there's reasons for it, but I sow it and sometimes it goes to seed. You can see the red ones seem to be going to seed. The yellow ones maybe, the yellow ones too. The white ones not. So anyway, but I can keep on harvesting them and eating them, and I need to make sure I have lots more perpetual spinach because it's such a lovely, easy thing to grow and so good for you and so delicious. So that's why I've got it amongst the sweet corn. Lots of wild rocket, some celery, and then in amongst the celery, I've got some little teeny weeny. I mean, aren't they just beautiful? These are beetroot seedlings, so they're just starting to get going. I sowed those about 10 days ago, I think. More carrots in there, more carrots. I've shown you the display of peas, which has probably made everybody watching this feel just as emotional as me. And then we got to the potatoes. So look, there's the main crop of potatoes. They're starting to flower. Oh, I've got a cosmos seedling in the middle of there. That's come up from last year. That's good because I haven't sown it this year. So anyway, so that's the main crops. They're looking good. That's a variety. It's either Cara or Picasso. Can't remember. Cara, I think. Over here, we've got the mountain that is the final lot of broad beans that I sowed. So again, I mean, they're really healthy this year. I haven't even taken the tops off those, and beans are coming as well. So at some point soon, I'm going to have a bean mountain. So I'll end up freezing some of them, but they do freeze really well. I just pod them and stick them in the freezer, and they're really good. These are my new potatoes. So these ones with the Californian poppies, these ones will be ready. They're probably ready under there now, actually, with all this rain. So I'll try those soon, and then to the final bed, which is looking lovely, isn't it? Look at that. I mean, you've got the collapsing comfrey at the end, but we've got sprouts, so they're looking good, looking really healthy. We've then got some cavolo nero, the black cabbage, Italian black cabbage, which looks really healthy. These are cauliflowers, which are going to start forming quite soon. And then we've got purple sprouting broccoli, which will be ready next March. And there's some more bee action, but I couldn't resist. So you can see this is the comfrey that came up flowered earlier, so it's still got bees on it, but you can see a lot of the flowers, the end of the spikes, they're just about finishing flowering. So this is the first lot I will chop down, stick all the leaves into some water, and then this will come up again, and I'll use those leaves for fertiliser for the tomatoes in the greenhouse. What a beautiful circle of gardening self-sufficiency that would be, and it is. And I've got some rhubarb here, which I'm gonna harvest some rhubarb. I'm gonna take some more stems tonight for a rhubarb crumble. It's gone from beautiful sunshine to starting to rain, and isn't that's lovely? I mean, these are the best conditions imaginable, and it's raining quite quickly, hardly now. So that's just about it, really, for a wander along. I'll just show you finally my bed of sort of wildflowers and herbs over here, which often has bees on, but at the moment they're probably keeping away. So I've got all sorts in here. I've got verbascums, foxgloves, I've got thyme, rosemary, I've got opium poppy over there, I've got forget-me-nots, I've got masses of herbs and stuff, and a native hedgerow. I think that's probably better than wild, isn't it? Native hedgerow at the back there, which is growing well. So that's also a really good success now. It took a while when everything was so dry and cold in April and May. Well, wet and cold, dry and cold, and then wet and cold. It was difficult, but now everything is looking really, really healthy, and so this should be a good place for bees, butterflies, caterpillars, and everything. So that's it. Yeah. So it's probably lush. Is probably a word you could use to describe it, and well, you've seen the conditions and the reason. It's been hot sunshine followed by a bit of rain, so it's looking really, really verdant and really, to my eyes, magnificent. and we're getting loads and loads of food from it. So joyous is the word that keeps coming up probably every time I look at it. So yeah, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little wander, and well, I'll maybe do another one in a month or so. Okay, bye bye.